Hey y'all, it's Kim again. So this is another Moscow Police Department Law Supplemental Narrative number 15. This is from Aaron Morris. It's Contact with Women Center. Redacted is interviewed and then redacted and then follow up with Greek life, DOS tip. So this is body worn camera and then the additional responding officers is Officer Rosinski and then case number added. Anyway, so this is the narrative on 11/15/2022. Redacted and redacted. Came to the Moscow PD substation to speak with Officer Rosinski and I regarding an incident possibly related to the homicide that occurred on 11/13/2022. They stated on October 21st, 2022, an unidentified white male came into the women's center and asked to speak to someone. Redacted spoke to the male. She stated he asked for snacks and appeared to be under the influence. She stated the interaction only lasted about 5 minutes. Redacted stated the male said he had a female friend who was in an abusive relationship. The male stated he was afraid the female would be hurt by her boyfriend and was also afraid he would hurt the boyfriend due to the abusive behavior. Redacted did not gather any names and had never seen the male before. I asked both redacted and redacted if they had any contacts with any of the victims. They said they did not, and they did not have any of their documents or contacts documented. On 11/15/2022, at approximately 11:50, redacted came into the substation to speak to me. I was told by Corporal Payne, redacted went to Gritman on November 13th, 2022 to seek medical care for cuts on his hand. I asked redacted what happened to his hand. He stated on 11/20 or 11/12/22 at around, I guess, what would that be? 8 o'clock? Yeah, I think 8. He cut his hand attempting to cut chicken for a sandwich. Redacted stated he was intoxicated and when he was trying to cut the meat, his pocket knife slipped and cut his hand. Why in the hell would you use a pocket knife on some ham? I asked when he went to the hospital. He read his wristband from the hospital and he said he went on 11/13/2022 at 2 o'clock. Redacted told me he lived at the redacted house. The laceration on his right hand was on his right hand. He sent me a photograph of the injury and attached it to the case. I asked redacted if he knew any of the victims. He stated he had seen Ethan 2 times at parties, but did not know any of the females. He said that redacted sister house was redacted. He said it was a national standard, but he had friends from multiple sororities. Redacted ran me through his weekend from Saturday morning. He stated he slept in Saturday morning, 11/12 of 2022, woke up around 09:30. Redacted said he went to the treehouse, which was a redacted outhouse located at redacted Taylor Avenue. He said he spent the whole day there watching the game. He said he left the treehouse at around, what is that, 7:30 and went back to the redacted on Elm Street. He said he was drinking all night and finally went to bed on 11/13/2022 at 0400. So 4 o'clock. Redacted said he was with his friends. Redacted and redacted all night. And excuse me, it's not Andrew. It's just A. But redacted provided me redacted's phone number. Officer Rosinski talked to redacted later at the redacted house. I'm sure it's one of the fraternities. Redacted said he and redacted were walking downstairs at the redacted house, and redacted missed a step and fell into the window. Holy hell. Redacted said at the time neither he or redacted saw any blood. Redacted said redacted was cutting chicken and he saw the injury. What? According to Redacted, Redacted was extremely intoxicated and thought he cut his hand while cutting the chicken, but Redacted believed he cut it on the glass. Okay. Redacted said he was willing to sign a consent form for medical records if we needed them. Redacted said he could not remember if he cut his hand on the window or with the knife. Redacted said his friends told him to go to the hospital to make sure there was not glass in his hand, and I went with Redacted to the Redacted house. He showed me the window they found broken. I photographed the window and attached it to the case. On 11/16/2022, I responded to Redacted at Redacted Main Street. A person of interest, Redacted lived at Redacted, and then Redacted confirmed Redacted lived at the unit alone. That may be Showalter again. They said they did not offer free internet service to tenants through Redacted, and later said, or excuse me, Redacted said they could not see who used the service. I asked Redacted if any of their tenants tried to get out of their leases recently, and they said no. They said Redacted started his lease on 7/18/2022. The employee remembered Redacted because his father was adamant on getting him the apartment. I responded to, excuse me, Redacted to see if Redacted utilized the internet service they provided. The employee gave me a paper with all tenants from Redacted Queen Road that used it. Redacted did not use the service. On 11/16/2022, I was asked to follow up on individuals connected to victims or persons of interest. The names provided were redacted, 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 redacted. Anyway, I called the Dean of Students office for phone numbers for redacted, redacted, redacted. I called Redacted first, who stated he was at his home in Boise. Redacted and Redacted stated they lived together in Meridian. I passed the information on to Captain Barrett. Also TLO'd Redacted and Redacted. I got a number for Redacted and called him. He provided his home address in Boise and said he was willing to speak with detectives. Excuse me. I forwarded that information as well as a TLO of Redacted to Corporal Payne and let's see, sorry, Corporal Barrett on 11/16/2022. Redacted and Redacted from the DOS office came to the ISUB. Redacted stated he had information regarding the homicide. Redacted first stated the DOS office. Sorry, I don't like that. It always goes to the next page. I don't like it. To the DOS office and had a debrief to check in on everyone. Redacted said, Redacted name was brought up. He said it got him thinking because this probably the court had a recent care report put in on him. On 11/3/2022, Redacted emailed the DOS or Dean of Students saying, had a few different circumstances in my life that have substantially decreased my mental health. On 11/4/2022, Redacted called Redacted. Redacted said Redacted seemed distant, distracted, and sad. Redacted also brought up the grub truck video. He said he was guessing, but he believed it was Redacted following the victims and hovering around them. Redacted also said after finding out what had happened, Redacted was more concerned with his dog. I thank Redacted for the information. I asked Redacted if he was able to provide the care reports for Redacted, and they referenced. Redacted said they did not seem hugely concerning, but would attempt to gather them. And then and then he certifies it, and it's Aaron Morris, and then that's Severding has approved it. So yeah, if it's Jack Decor, then he was probably struggling more than we thought about the breakup with Kaylee. And that would explain if Bryan's not actually guilty. And I don't know why anybody would say they were guilty if they're not guilty of something that serious, even if it was to take the death penalty off the table. So there you go. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good one. Bye.